She went to a slumber party and never came home. Those 10 words still haunt the friends and family of Tamla Horsford. A 40-year-old mother of 5 with a radiant smile and an infectious laugh, Tamla was known for her warmth, kindness, and fierce devotion to her children. She wasn't someone who went out often. Her life revolved around her family. But one chilly night in November 2018, she accepted a rare invitation to a football mom's sleepover party in the quiet suburb of Cumming, Georgia, a place many considered safe, serene, and peaceful. By morning, Tamla would be found dead, face down in the backyard of the home. Her body bruised, her wrist dislocated, her neck scraped, her heart broken, literally and figuratively. The official word was accidental fall. But almost immediately, the whispers began. The scene felt wrong. The injuries too many. The stories too conflicting. And most haunting of all, why was the only black woman at an all-white party left alone to die? And why did no one seem to care? This is the story of Tamla Horsford. A story of mystery. A story of silence. A story where the search for truth has collided with questions of race, privilege, and justice in modern America. Was Tamla's death truly an accident? Or was it something more sinister? Stay with us. Because this case, it demands to be heard. This is True Crime Hub, where truth haunts and justice begs for light. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because tonight, we're diving deep into one of the most controversial, chilling deaths of the last decade. On November 3, 2018, Tamla Horsford arrived at a sleepover party hosted by Jean Mayers, a white woman whose son played football with Tamlas. It was meant to be a casual night of food, drinks, and football, a gathering of football moms unwinding after a busy season. The invite list was small, just a dozen people. Mostly white women in their 30s and 40s, and a few of their husbands who popped in briefly. Tamla stood out, not just for her bright, outgoing personality, but because she was the only black woman in attendance. By all accounts, Tamla was in good spirits. She brought a bottle of tequila and wore a white Autopsy pajama printed with grey paw prints. Cozy and cute, a perfect fit for the casual night. She laughed. She took selfies. She texted her family. She even FaceTimed with one of her kids during the party. Tamla loved being a mom. Her life revolved around her 5 children. She would never have willingly left them. But just hours later, everything changed. At 8:45 a.m. on November 4, 2018, a chilling 911 call was made. It was from Jose Barrera, a pretrial officer and the boyfriend of Jean Mayers, the host of the party. His voice was strangely calm. He reported that a guest had fallen off the balcony and was not moving. That guest was Tamla Horsford. She was found lying face down in the backyard. Not on the patio, not near a step, but far out in the grass. Her Autopsy was dirty. Her arms splayed unnaturally. Her right wrist was dislocated. There were abrasions on her hands and legs. She had cuts on her face and a deep gash on her shin. Her heart was lacerated. And yet, no one at the party heard a scream. No loud crash. Nothing. The scene was disturbing, but so was the response. Tamla was left in the yard untouched for nearly 2 hours while police assessed the situation. No CPR was attempted. No real urgency shown. Her death, almost immediately, was labeled an accident. A fall from the second-floor balcony, caused by intoxication. The official narrative began forming before the body was even moved. And so began a fight, for answers, for truth, and for Tamla. Tamla's autopsy, conducted by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, found her blood alcohol content at 0.238, nearly 3 times the legal limit. Traces of THC and Xanax were also found in her system. But it was the injuries that raised eyebrows. Her body was covered in bruises and abrasions, more than what might be expected from a fall. Her neck had cuts. Her wrist was completely dislocated. Her heart showed trauma. Her brain had swelling. The GBI ruled her death an accident, citing multiple blunt force injuries consistent with a fall. But many experts disagreed. Private forensic specialists noted the injuries seemed excessive for a balcony fall. The direction of her body, the lack of significant trauma to her face, and the fact that her head had no fractures, despite being found face down, made the fall narrative hard to believe. There were no defensive wounds, no outward signs of struggle, but no clear evidence of a simple accident either. The balcony itself had a railing more than 3 feet high. Tamla would have needed to climb or lean dramatically to fall over. So what really happened? There were around 10 people at the party, mostly women, 1 or 2 men. And yet, despite so many witnesses, their stories didn't match up. Some said Tamla was the life of the party. Others claimed she was quiet and kept to herself. Some said they last saw her going to bed at midnight. Others said she stayed up late, eating gumbo and smoking. Only one person, Bridget Fuller, left the party early due to feeling uncomfortable. Her departure around 1:30 a.m. was one of the few undisputed details. But the rest? Unclear. No one claimed to see Tamla fall. No one heard a cry for help. No one heard the sound of a body hitting the ground. Jose Barrera, the man who found her, admitted to moving her leg to check for signs of life. A violation of standard protocol. His girlfriend Jean, the party host, claimed to have gone to bed early and heard nothing suspicious. Barrera would later be fired from his job for accessing the incident report on Tamla's death without authorization. The case, it seemed, was already starting to rot from within. From the moment Tamla's body was discovered, the investigation raised red flags. No fingerprints were collected from the alcohol bottles. No proper timeline was ever pieced together from all the guests. The security cameras on the home had no footage, claimed to be inactive. Witness phones were not seized or properly reviewed. Some witnesses weren't even formally interviewed. And then there was the condition of Tamla's body. Reports indicated her hands were stiff with rigor mortis. That process takes several hours, suggesting she had died far earlier than when the 911 call was made. That means Tamla's body was potentially lying outside for hours while everyone else in the house slept, or pretended to. The whole scene screamed mishandling. A potentially crucial window of investigation had been lost. And when the family began asking questions, they were told to stop playing detective. But Tamla's loved ones weren't about to let her be forgotten. Tamla Horsford was the only black person at the party, the only one who ended up dead. To many observers, especially in the black community, this fact couldn't be ignored. Would the response have been different if the roles were reversed? If a white woman had been found dead in the backyard of a black family's party? Social media erupted with theories. Civil rights activists pointed out the historical echoes of black bodies being explained away, of deaths swept under the rug. Tamla wasn't just a statistic. She was a mother, a daughter, a wife. She deserved better than silence. The family hired attorney Ralph Fernandez to review the case. His conclusion was chilling. It appears Tamla was involved in a struggle. The abrasions, injuries, and other patterns are not consistent with a fall. The lack of response, the conflicting testimonies, and the behavior afterward raised serious questions. This case deserves a full investigation. But for a long time, nothing happened. The case was closed. The questions remained unanswered. In June 2020, as protests erupted across America in the wake of George Floyd's murder, the name Tamla Horsford resurfaced. Petitions began circulating, demanding the case be reopened. Thousands of people signed. Celebrities shared her story. The pressure built. And finally, the GBI announced they would reopen the case. For Tamla's family, it was a bittersweet victory. They never wanted national attention. They just wanted answers. But time had passed. Witnesses had rehearsed their stories. Evidence was gone. The momentum had waned. By 2021, the GBI announced they found no new evidence and would not pursue charges. And just like that, the window closed again. Or did it? To this day, Tamla Horsford's case remains one of the most talked about controversial deaths of the last decade. Online forums still debate it. Independent investigators keep digging. Social justice groups continue to highlight her story as an example of systemic bias and investigative failure. This wasn't just about one woman's death. It was about how quickly a life could be dismissed, how easily a story could be rewritten, how hard it is to get justice when your skin color doesn't match the room. Tamla's name lives on, not because justice was served, but because people refused to stop saying it. She was born in the Caribbean. She moved to Florida as a child. She loved dancing, cheering, being a mom, and uplifting others. Tamla was more than a case file, more than a victim. She was the heart of her family. The reason this story hurts isn't just because of how she died. It's because of everything she left behind. Her children, her husband, the life she was still building. A life cut short. Why were her injuries inconsistent with a fall? Why did no one hear anything? Why was the scene not properly secured? Why was the only black woman dead, and everyone else seemingly fine? Why does justice feel so far away? We may never get full answers, but we can demand accountability. We can keep asking, and we can say her name, Tamla Horsford. There are some cases that never leave you, not because of how they end, but because of how they linger. Tamla Horsford's death is one of those cases. A loving mother, a vibrant soul, gone under the most chilling and mysterious circumstances. Her family still grieves, still fights, still hopes. And now, you know her story too. What do you believe? Was Tamla's death a tragic accident? Or a deadly cover-up? Let us know in the comments. Bell subscribe for more deep, emotional stories that seek truth where it hides. Candle share this story. Keep her name alive. Because justice may be blind, but it still needs a voice.